Hello, Ghost and Ghouls. It's Mary Hughes here with another mini-cast episode of I Know What You Podcasted Last Summer. I am here with the hostess with the mostest, Veronica.
Hey, what's up?
Last time you got a double dose of us talking about American Horror Story's latest season, Apocalypse. And now we have moved on into a new show, and that is The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. Brr.
So cold.
So frigid. So it's a Netflix produced
I thought it was
or released
original. Or
Netflix original, but it's connected to the
comic. There is a Chilling Adventure of Sabrina.
Exactly. So like you've got the original Sabrina Teenage Witch comics from way back when, just like the old Archie comics and the old Josie and the Pussycats and all that stuff. And ever since they decided, you know what, Archie's missing real darkness and creepy things, and created Riverdale. I guess it was probably only a matter of time before Sabrina the Teenage Witch would get a decidedly satanic update.
Deservingly so. Well, I was just looking at, what's his name? Roboto.
Oh,
I guess, Akasa?
nice.
And he created Afterlife with Archie, depicting Archie Andrews in the midst of zombie apocalypse, apparently.
Okay,
and
nice.
it was like insane success. So he was a creative officer, and then he's like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to be the serious developer of Riverdale and Chilling Adventure of Sabrina. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay,
Sounds right.
do your thing then.
Sounds right.
man.
He's committed
Yeah,
to these
they gave him
characters.
the keys to the kingdom, and he ran with it. And he's like, okay.
Yeah, I feel good about this.
Yeah, and I was like, man knows what he's doing. I guess that's fine. He just wants to make everything dark and gorgeous, and that's fine.
And you know what?
I'm here for it.
He succeeds. I've not watched any of Riverdale, so
I have not either.
I wasn't entirely sure what
Because
the tone.
It wasn't. I read Archie with
As
Betty
did
and
I.
Veronica, and
Yeah.
I was like, well, this isn't this, and this is
What
just
trash.
sexy teenagers, and I really don't need to watch this. Like, I'm okay. Like, I don't even know if it's good. It's kind of those things I'm like, maybe if I'll check out one day.
I mean, I feel like, like in the 90s, there were a particular type of primetime teen drama. It was like
What?
Dawson's Creek,
Dawson's
One
Creek?
Tree Hill,
Oh, God.
and things of that
I
nature.
didn't watch those either, though. I watched some
look,
Dawson's Creek.
I watched Dawson's Creek.
What?
Look.
Real talk. Why?
Scare. I don't mean to scare you, listeners.
This is the real horror.
real horror.
Mary watched Dawson cry.
Paisley and Joey forever. But I feel like now we're kind of in a day and age where darker turns are a bit more welcomed, especially with things that maybe you don't expect it to happen with. So from all that I know, Riverdale is a huge success.
Yeah, from what I hear.
Has a big following, people who love to watch it. And when I saw the first trailer or so and looks at The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, I was just like, okay, a dark story. I have a special place in my heart for the Melissa Joan Hart version of Sabrina. And so I was just like, this is the antithesis of the Melissa Joan Hart version. And so I was like, all right, well, it might be good or it might just completely suck.
I don't know if you saw on YouTube, they had their reaction video. I know you love reaction videos.
I do.
And they have the original cast of Sabrina with Melissa Joan
really?
Hart and Harvey, and them, and they're watching, and they're like, oh! And I was like, this is really cute. I like this.
I'm glad that they're cool about it.
Yeah, they wished him, like, hey, it's your series debut. From this Sabrina cast to yours, like, good luck.
Okay,
and you're gonna do great. And I
that
was
makes
like,
me
this
very
is so
happy.
Cute.
That's great. Because, that show was funny and it was sweet. It wasn't harsh at all. And listeners, if you're not familiar with this newest incarnation of Sabrina, it is completely different from the old one. It's not to say that there aren't maybe some humorous moments in this new Sabrina, but
No,
that's
definitely
not the
not.
tone
It's not,
they're going
but it's
for.
not. It's like I was watching some interviews and that he really likes to do horror movies, like Creepshow.
Oh, nice.
Something that's kind of campy,
Yeah.
but fun, but still obviously dark.
Well,
has
then
that darkness to it. And I was like,
he nailed
yeah.
it.
Yeah, that's what I
fucking nailed
yeah,
it.
right? I was like, okay, so I see where you were going, Roberto. I'm here for you. Show me more.
So if you're not familiar with any of the stories of Sabrina in any version, this version is. I have to make note of this because this is something I paid attention to when I was watching it. Shelby and I watched it together. She kept bringing it up as well. And not in a negative either. But everything about where this show is set, the town, the way people dress, the shops, the stores, the school, it feels like we're out of time.
Yeah, and actually, that was something I was going to talk about too, because in the interview, they asked, one of the interviews said, hey, when is this set?
Yeah, because
their clothes is very different too.
Yeah.
Like for high schoolers, they're very
Right.
like, and apparently it was originally in the 60s.
Okay.
But then they changed it because they wanted it to be timeless. And I was
Nice.
like, I get that.
Okay.
I watch movies, one that I discussed with you,
Yes,
that
yes.
tried to do this, and I was like, no.
Didn't work.
Did not work. But this one I felt really did
it does
work.
a great job.
Yeah. And they really thought it was important too, because they didn't want certain aspects, feminism and stuff to be
Right,
like,
right.
this is why we're talking about it, because it's the topic of the day, topic of the time.
I
And they're
get
like,
it.
no,
Okay.
it's actually just the right way to be.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
It's
Nice.
just about being a strong woman, and just they're feminists because they're feminists,
Right.
not because of some sort of outside
Thing.
topic of the day or whatever.
Okay.
So that was a big thing for them.
Well,
And
nice.
it's appreciative. I
yeah.
appreciate it.
I like that too. And so, yeah, so I think that's a perfect place to kind of get into what this show is. So in this, I feel like I'm quoting something. Maybe I'll hop on in the actual blurb that we write for this episode and say, and this is where this is from. But a timeless place, a placeless time. That's where Sabrina, the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina is. But it tells the story of Sabrina, who is half mortal, half witch. And that's kind of like, she's a hitch.
She's a hitch.
She's a hitch or a woman. That just sounds like woman in a funny
that's
tone.
not.
But yeah. So, and she's living a double life set in the town of Greendale. That's where Sabrina lives with her two aunts and
Ambrose.
Ambrose.
And Ambrose, who apparently is like 90, he says.
Oh, that's
And
right.
That he's 90. He's been banished for 75 years.
Yeah.
They all look
and
beautiful.
held kind of. It's like the house is his prison. He's not allowed to
no,
leave
he's not allowed.
for the majority of this 10-episode run
Right.
of the show. And so the basic show premise is you've got Sabrina being torn between two worlds, the two lives that she's trying to lead. And, she's trying to be all independent young woman and do things her own way. And as the series progresses, I think realizing that there's no easy answers to this. Just because you want it doesn't mean you're gonna get it.
Yeah, and I
Kind of
kind of liked that. I liked it a lot.
Oh no, I
liked that they
loved it.
but I love that she just kept trying.
Yep.
Like, you know what? But why?
Yeah.
But why? But why? And I just loved her tenacity of like, no.
I mean, yeah, and that was basically any situation that occurred where someone, and it was usually on the witch side of things, because the mortals didn't know anything for quite a while in this show. But mostly they were just like, well, that's just not what we do, so you're not going to do it that way. Or you're going to put your name in the book of night or the dark book or whatever it was called, and she's just like, why can't I have things the way I want it to be?
But she got it from the mortal side too, because she was like, when her friend kept getting beat up by those group of
that's
boys,
right, yeah.
and they were like, well, they're the golden sons of this town. They're the football la
Yeah.
Who saw they being up? It's like, she has a black eye. One. I'm pretty sure she could,
Yeah.
And just the fact that there was like, no, this, no, you
That's
can't
true.
read that.
That's true.
When the girl ended up, her other friend started like going blind.
Yeah,
and
started
they're like,
losing
"We're
her
gonna-"
sight,
And then
yeah.
they're acting like they're giving her something where they're like, we'll discuss it the next meeting.
Right.
It was like 8 months later or some bullshit. I was like, God damn it. And so she was getting a lot.
Kind of getting a
from
lot
everywhere.
of no's.
And she's
Yeah.
like, but I like how she was like, you know what? I have bigger fish to fry in this dark side of things. I'm just gonna go around you, mortal. I'm just gonna make sure that you get super sick or like you miss the day.
Right. But what I did enjoy about this, because I think a lot of times when you watch a show or a film, there's that part of us that you want to see the character you're supposed to identify with or whatever. You want to see them be validated in some way or get their way in whatever the thing is going on. And what I really liked was that I liked that she was pushing for things to be different and wanting to kind of have her cake and eat it too, to a certain degree. but that there were decisions that she made that had consequences that she had to then deal with. Like, it wasn't like she just went and did a spell one time and then everything's hunky-dory. Like, everything she did had a consequence that she wasn't fully prepared to handle. And it helped show that even though she's supposed to be pretty powerful and Satan has a vested interest in her big time, she's not infallible. She makes mistakes. And she does things sometimes with a teenager mind, not a witch mind, not a.
And really, I liked that it was, a lot of times it's that she's young, she's going to try. Why not? Yeah, I didn't want to see a little adult.
Right.
I also didn't want a lot of teen drama. I felt like everything was pretty real and
it stayed pretty true to course, I think, as far as that. Yeah.
Even her friend going blind or her curse on her family.
Oh, right. Yeah, the
was
curse on the family.
Into the exposition of how they fit into the past of this Greendale.
And I'll say that's when their stories, because the things that were happening that were just sort of, they almost felt like they didn't have enough time for them. You've got Sabrina dealing with the academy. You've got Sabrina dealing with, will she sign a book? Will she won't sign the book? Will she be a part of this and not? And whatever, is going on there. It kind of felt like sometimes when they would get to her mortal friends and boyfriend, that there wasn't enough time to give it the care that it needed to. So I'm really glad that they actually started tying in everything to the history of Greendale and to the long history of mortals and witches in this town. Because before that, sometimes it would feel disjointed to me to be jumping into something with her friends. And then, it would just be another episode of Sabrina being like, well, I can't let him know about blah, blah, blah that I've done, or I can't let him know that I'm a witch. And it just sort of, when that finally broke, I think the show got even better for me. It I don't know. It added more depth to the mortal characters.
Yeah.
To get them involved, and not just because they knew Sabrina was a witch, but because they have their own ties to things. Harvey's family were witch hunters.
Yeah. Honestly, I didn't love Harvey as much.
I didn't like him that much.
I didn't love and it's not really his fault.
Yeah.
It's just kind of, okay.
You know what I didn't like about him the most?
What?
I hated that he called her Brina.
Right? I'm like, this is bullshit. I'm like,
stop calling her that.
Say Brina?
Stop it.
I actually had to rewind and put the volume up. I'm like, that's real dumb.
Oh, I love you, Brina. And I was like, oh, what? No.
I know. I like that he love. I like their love. That young love and everything. It's fine. It's fine. They made out a lot.
Dude, for real.
All right, guys. I was like, it's fine. I just felt. And I, in that way, I was okay because I was like, I understand what she's fighting for. She feels very passionately about this guy. Right. He might be the reason why she's choosing no to sign her name in the book.
Yeah.
So I get it. I just thought he was kind of flat. And I was all right, this kid.
Even when things were supposed to be big emotional deals, it was, it didn't,
And also his storyline of, I saw something in that mind.
Right.
I actually liked his brother more.
Dude, his brother was fucking awesome. Great. I was so sad that, obviously spoilers when you're listening to us, but still, I'm sad that was the character who had to die and then come back and basically kind of be like a traditional version of a zombie. Yeah. No thought, no feeling.
No,
they just kind of do whatever.
Catch ball.
That's all.
I thought that was the weakest side story was the brother dying, Tommy dying, and then coming back, and then dealing with that, and then accepting that, and then loving Brina again. I'm like, oh, I don't care.
Right.
Bring back the more of the her and the dark side, or this. I actually really like the Weird Sisters.
Oh my god. The Weird Sisters were fantastic. Fucking Prudence.
Prudence is amazing.
I don't know the actress's name, but Jesus Christ, she took over every scene.
Tati Gabriel.
She was in for me. She dominated it. She had such a
I loved her makeup. I loved what she did. Her hair was amazing. God damn, this girl. But this is the thing is that we didn't see any of those people until we did, and then we're basically when we saw the Weird Sisters, they try to bind her or whatever, they try to curse her, and then I loved seeing just how invested all these people were with like the history of every, like, yeah, Sabrina, like you get that thing where you're like, oh, you know, my father was a big deal. He used to be headmaster. He chose a mortal,
yeah.
You know, whatever. And we don't want you here. But just seeing like, I mean, that's what I always think is so weak when people are like, oh, she's special because she's half mortal, half this, half this, or because her dad was a headmaster, but it doesn't give any depth to anything. Like you don't see exactly what that means to other people, the resonance in the story, or even to other people. And seeing that they had an investment in like her not going to the school because the headmaster now told her stop that from happening. Yeah. But then it's like just... I loved that. I loved all the little time, like tick, 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 all the little stories, like, oh, what's going on here? But I thought this, and oh, okay.
Some nice, you know, good world building, you know, for this. And we've talked about the things that are maybe a little weak for us, and you know, obviously the atmosphere of the show is one of its strongest points.
Yeah.
You know, obviously, if Satanism freaks you out, this is going to be a show you can't handle because it's everywhere.
And there's a statue. They're being sued because they showed that statue. True. So, yeah, it's definitely there.
It's definitely there. But to me, I think you said, you know, they're just get back to the dark side of stuff.
Yeah.
That was that was the show for me. The mortal things got more interesting as it went along. You know, the episode where they were actually trying to prevent, like, what was it, like the Red Rider from coming through. That was a good episode that showed a lot of what the mortal people had and this, that, and the other. And, you know, and it all wraps up somewhat nicely. But, the things that I really enjoyed was when she was at the school for witches and warlocks, when she was there, and dealing with, like, her aunts and stuff. Dealing with fucking Madam Satan, Michelle Gomez.
Jesus.
I didn't really know that actress very well before this show. I knew she had been on Doctor Who. I knew that. And that's all I knew. And I was not prepared for the full force of how much I would end up absolutely adoring the way she plays that character. Because we start off with her as being one of the teachers at the school who seems pretty nice, kind of demure and whatever. And then that woman basically gets killed.
Yep.
And her body gets taken over by... Lilith. Yeah.
Yeah. And I said, that's actually one of the things I loved about this is how much callback there was. Like Lilith. I'm like, oh my God.
Right?
The first choice of Adam? Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Bring it.
And yeah.
Even Daniel Webster, I was like, oh,
I fucking loved that.
The only man to outwit the devil.
Yeah.
And here we are.
I love shit like
the
that.
prosecutor or the defense attorney for Sabrina, and I was like, of course, of anyone, makes sense to me. Don't make it like, oh, the history teacher she loves so much, or some garbage like that.
No.
Bring me Daniel fucking Webster.
If you're gonna do it, do it right. And I feel like that's kind of the tone of this show in general. It's just like we're setting out to do a show about this person and with these certain things going on, we're gonna go all the way out. And that brings me to something. I kept bringing this up when I was watching the show with Shelby. She didn't care, but still.
She was not interested.
She was like, whatever, okay. But, you know, because they kept throwing in things that are tied to other lore and other stories, like Lilith, like Daniel Webster, I can't get over the fact that the dude at the witch and warlock school that has the hots for Sabrina or keeps helping her out, his name is Nick Scratch.
I know.
The minute I heard that, I turned to Shelby and I was just like, Old Scratch! It's Old Scratch!
And honestly, that was the most like surface one, right? Yeah. And Chris was just rolled his eyes.
I loved it.
Nick Scratch.
Give it to me.
No, it's clever.
It is. They're literally going out of their way to come up with every way to bring up devil stories and devil references.
I was like, good for you. know your devil lore.
Yes.
I was like, you know, I think it's great. That was probably, and that's kind of what's cool about this is that they're not afraid to go way back with Daniel Webster.
Yeah.
Like, actually, I don't I'm not sure if Chris knew about that, but I was like, oh, Daniel Webster. He's like, oh, I'm like bringing it up online.
The Devil and Daniel Webster. Yeah, man.
I was like, yeah, man, here. And so like old school, like that's old.
Yep.
And then you bring Nick Scratch, and you're like,
yeah,
okay, or Lilith, and just like you can bring the Bible into this. All right,
they're going
the
full tilt, man.
omitted first wife.
Yeah.
Or whatever. I was like, do it. I really liked the history.
Yeah.
It which gave such a nice depth that just by calling that name, you know exactly the feel. You know exactly what they're going for.
Exactly. And it works. It works so well. And luckily, I think for the most part, they got talented people involved in this. Oh, yeah. We mentioned Michelle Gomez as Lilith, Madam Satan. She just blows my mind. She's so good in this. But even, two incredible actresses to play Sabrina's aunts.
I love her aunts.
Miranda
so
Otto, which, if you hear that name and you're like, well, I don't know who that is. Well, if you've ever seen the Lord of the Rings trilogy, then you'll know who she is. Because she played Eowyn in those films. But yeah, Miranda Otto plays one of the aunts, and Lucy Davis, who is a fantastic comedian.
I love Lucy Davis.
She was in Wonder Woman.
Much. Yeah.
She's everywhere, and she is hilarious. And
she fits everywhere.
She fits in everything you put her in. Yeah. And so these two women are just killing it, and they do such a good job. And at first I was curious to see if they would I wondered if those characters were going to be kind of one-dimensional a little bit at the start.
Kind of like the show, even though I love the TV show, it's a comedy. Teen story,
and I just thought they're just going to be there. One's going to be more serious, and one's going to be more fun. And I was like, I don't know how I feel about it. It didn't take long for them to keep giving them more and more of their own lives, their own stories, their own histories. And then even to the extent of how they relate to Sabrina and how that bond gets deeper as the show goes on, where Sabrina, she bucks real hard against the rules in her own household.
Yeah, and to the extent of disrespect to her own aunt.
She got there in that one episode in particular.
It doesn't really matter how much each other bucks heads, the aunts, and they do care for Sabrina and love her so much, obviously in different ways.
Yes.
Obviously cannot express them in the same ways at all. And even to the point where apparently the one aunt can kill the other aunt.
That's the most hilarious shit.
When
as long as she buries her in the family plot.
Yeah, as long as Zelda kills Hilda, and then she buries her in
the dirt. Cain and Abel.
Cain and Abel dirt. Yeah. When Cain killed Abel.
Yeah.
And buried him, and as long as they kill him, then she'll come back to life.
Yeah.
What the fuck? It's so great. It's so great. That's such a cool idea. And they ran with it.
They just,
and she came up and she was like, "It's my right as your older sister." And I'm like, these fucking people kill themselves. and they just don't care. They do it for Sabrina. Like they both made sure that she was gonna get either into baptized. Right. Apparently, one followed in the Daniel Webster episode where they say that Sabrina needs to sign the book because she was promised to sign the book, and she's negating on a promise essentially.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, I didn't. And he goes, your dad promised. But the day before, her mother and Hilda went to a church and got her married in like a regular church, a church of God. Church of Light, how dare you? And I was like, this is amazing.
It's great.
That they did it with each parent.
Yeah.
Whatever that one wanted for Sabrina, whatever Sabrina wanted.
Right.
And it didn't matter that they couldn't get along. Because they're sisters, it doesn't matter. Of course they love each other, whatever. But whatever. I'm obviously an only child. But as long as Sabrina was okay.
Yeah.
And at the very end, when her and Zelda just hit heads, Sabrina and her just hit, and she just says, "You're not my mother."
Oh God!
And she fucking raised her since a baby. Like, how could you tell someone that?
See that the way they chose to play that with Miranda Otto's face, that just like cut her and so deep.
And she that she's just such a strong character, and of course that hurt her. Yeah. But the other one didn't care. Like Zelda, Hilda didn't care. She goes, "Don't talk to her that way."
I love that moment.
You? And I was like. You're in so much shit, one. Yeah. Sabrina, you little shit.
Yeah.
But also, Like, it doesn't matter. It is all a family in the end. And that's their family, and they are there for each other. And I did love that about this episode. It didn't matter how they were going to love each other. They were going to love each other somehow.
And they did. And, you know, I think that was the thing that made those characters more defined, was giving them the room to have those moments. It wasn't just, you know, despite the title of the show, it wasn't just the Sabrina show. And it all comes together pretty well. Now, in the we're not, you know, we'll talk a little bit about the Christmas special. But the wrap up of the 10 episode first season of this show, you've got Sabrina. She signed the book.
Oh, yeah. You know, honestly, I didn't love the way that was done.
Yeah.
Because she, Lilith tells her, you have to come with me. It's the only way.
Yeah.
You know, you got to do it this way. And Hilda's like, yo, just leave me here. It's fine. I'll hold down the fort, because they need to band together and protect the humans, while all the witches are like, we're going to protect ourselves. Bye.
Yeah, peace.
And they're loving whoever keeps zapping them out of there. So it's just Sabrina and Hilda at one point. And she just goes, you know, come here. She says that she's a friend of her father's. Whatever,
yeah.
And I was like, wow, that was pretty weak. That was a little weak.
It was a little weak. I agree.
That was a thin story here. No one heard of you before, but apparently you're
so close.
And she's like, oh, typical so and so is what Zelda said, and I was like, really?
Is it though?
So I was like, but why are you just saying her now when you've been caring for Sabrina her entire life?
Right.
Anyway, so she goes, it's the only way, and she grabs Sabrina, they run, and Hilda's like, you know, she goes like, you could, and Hilda's like, and join in any time now.
Yeah.
You can join in to help us too. Yeah. And I didn't understand why Sabrina like, yeah, why do I have to go anywhere? You could literally just help us here.
Right.
So that was the one thing that I was like, this is the push. This is the ultimate push.
Weak convince moment. Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah. It was a good setup, but the ultimate push I didn't understand.
Okay. Yeah. I can see that.
But
I definitely see that.
Nah, they couldn't leave the humans alone, of course. You know, so Hilda had to stay.
Yeah, of course.
Especially for her Dracula man. Dracula bookstore man.
Dude, look, to be fair, I would work at that store.
Yeah, too. What the fuck? When they kiss and his eyes change?
Yeah. And I don't know what's happening.
Don't know.
So see, this is a perfect segue, Veronica, into what do we think is coming and going on, because, okay, so Sabrina signed the book.
It's done and
It's done now.
Now she has her platinum hair.
That's right.
She got it.
Oh my God.
This looks good.
Walking like Mean Girls moment at the witch school.
Swishy velvet, crushed velvet.
Walking with the sisters and Prudence.
Her weird sisters now.
So that's happened. The Dracula man that Hilda has the hots for and works with, his eyes turned a funky color when they finally kissed. Don't know what's happening there. Zelda hid the baby, the second baby.
I didn't understand. Like, don't just tell him that the firstborn was a boy. Like, what was that about?
I don't know. But I had thoughts at the time, because, you know, we saw several flashbacks or like windows into the past kind of things that Sabrina had with her mom and dad and babies. And there were 2 babies then.
Yeah, there was. Oh,
so
there was.
There was 2 babies then, and now here we are in another scenario with 2 babies. And I have this vague memory of Zelda saying something like, maybe even Sabrina brought up, in my vision I saw there was another child, or there was me and some other baby or something. And I feel like they either said, one of you had to go and one of you stayed, kind of deal. And the way it sounded to me was that them having Sabrina was part of the plan of protecting Sabrina somehow from something. And now Zelda's doing it again. I don't know. But I'm curious to see what she's doing now with this child. And the fact that she gave what's his name? What is that? Father horny man. Father can't keep it in his pants, man.
Right. Oh, Faustus.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah.
Faustus, of course. Fucking Faustus.
God damn it.
Yeah, Father Faustus. The fact that she gave him the male child and said, oh, yeah, that's it. Here you go. And is keeping the female like...
Judas.
Like, Does that mean that they would have just tossed out the female child? Is it like
I guess
ancient rules of like boys only kind of children?
See, that's what I didn't understand, because it turned out Prudence was his daughter.
Yeah.
And she said, he always treated me like a daughter.
Yeah.
And she said it with endearing. She didn't say, why are you always treating me like your daughter?
How dare you?
How dare you? I can go out, I'm not wearing too much makeup, whatever. She definitely said it with endearment.
She likes that, yeah.
And like it before she even knew that was her actual father. And so I was like, what's the harm in giving him another one when he obviously looked after this one? I was like, just say it was the second one. Like, whatever.
I don't know. I feel like
Prudence
there's going to be a point to it. Yeah, and she helped cover it up.
She was like, okay.
She just went with it. Shit. Which kind of surprised me a little bit.
But I guess this last episode was the weakest to me. One of the weaker ones.
Yeah.
Because I felt like there were so many important decisions made, and I don't know why they were made.
Well, and on the one hand, that could just be they don't want you to know till we're getting the second season, and they're just like, answers will come.
That's just kind of their MO, I guess, huh?
Yeah.
They'll be like, you can't come to the school.
Yeah.
And then we're like, we know why now.
But ultimately, I'd say the 10 episodes, I enjoyed them a lot.
I did. I liked them a lot in the way that a lot of times with Netflix originals, I'll be like, okay, that was 5 episodes too many, or 3 episodes too many. I liked how their little side ones meant something.
Yeah.
Their dream episode meant something. We got to see inside them. It was so good. And I was like, okay, now we see the worst and depths of these characters.
Yeah.
Ambrose, I loved Ambrose going on himself.
He's a great character.
He's a great character. He was really good. He said he was in an interview. He's like, I'm your Alfred to your Batman, Sabrina. And I was like, okay. I really loved when she ran away from signing the book and he protected her.
Yeah. Oh no, that was awesome.
He's already in shit. Like he's already banished for life in his house. And he's like,
what do I got to lose?
Yeah. And even though he wants to get out so badly, he's like, oh, fuck it.
Well, I think even, when he finally did get some freedom and went back to the school to be with his man, his boyfriend, his bae, and he's there at that little man only party where Faustus is celebrating his new baby boy child. The look on his face while these guys are chanting, and he's just like, what the fuck?
I've been surrounded by ladies all the time. I don't understand.
Like, I don't understand this testosterone thing that's happening right now. But ultimately, really solid 10 episodes. Not too much, not too little. And then they did a Christmas special.
Yeah,
an extra little Christmas special.
I heard answered so many questions, and I really didn't for me.
Yeah.
But it did for tying up things they didn't want to show until the next season.
Yeah, because see, I didn't know anything about it. I knew there was a Christmas special, and that's all I knew.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, I don't think I was expecting anything to be wrapped up. I thought it was just going to be something very separate from the show stuff for the most part. Like I knew there'd be familiar characters, and it would probably still carry some of the tone of what had happened in the last episode. But I thought it was going to be a story kind of all unto its own, which it kind of was. To a degree. Some of it is very much in keeping and maybe bridging the gap from the end of season 1 and into the next season. And some of it is completely just Christmas-oriented falderall. The fact that Zelda loves A Christmas Carol because it's full of ghosts. Yeah. And like that kind of thing. And, the Yule log thing. Which I really enjoyed. And then Susie being an elf and then almost being turned into a permanent one, which just made me laugh. It made me think of like Krampus and shit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah. So they had to do it. They didn't want to carry the baby into the next season.
Right. They had to
Zelda gives the baby to the spirit that collects kids. I guess she had a agreement with another witch, or I think, right?
Yeah.
And they said we're gonna eat our own children, and they only ate her children. And then the other person, they're like, "Nah, I'm good." Yeah. She was like, so now she's forevermore collecting these children,
right?
And they make a mess of the Spellman house because the Yule log goes out.
Yeah. That caused trouble until you call her down from the mountain to get rid of the kids, and then you have to give her something.
Yeah.
And she wants the baby.
Yeah.
And Sabrina enchants the baby, right? Mm-hmm. So that it looks like the baby, because she's just like, I'm sorry, Zelda. what's her name won, she gets the baby. And so the woman,
They do the what's it called? The king, where they pull the baby. Whoever wants the baby has to pull the baby.
And Zelda, of course, won't
do it.
Won't do it.
In the Bible, of course,
right?
That's the one who's supposed to get the baby.
Yeah.
But she's like, no.
But then they've enchanted it. It's not the actual baby, but they do some kind of deal where that witch woman, ends up getting all those dead kids.
Yeah, but they don't give that baby to her. They give it to the other one that doesn't eat the baby.
Yeah.
And I was like, I was like, that's weird. Is that the one that I asked Chris? I was like, wait, I don't remember I remember heard her name once, and apparently we're going to give a baby to that person. And Chris is like, isn't that the one in the first season?
The one that go visit her?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that she played like Spooker.
Yeah.
Like, you brought evil with you. And now you bring me a baby? I was like, man.
This woman needs to stop answering the door, is what I'm hearing.
She was pretty old. Like, a lot of these witches, they keep their youth. That's part of their thing. She was old and moving slow, and they're going to give her a baby.
Yeah, well.
Okay.
Yeah. Look, no one's making good decisions. It's the holiday.
It's the holidays is all. Whatever.
But yeah, so I think it's just a bridge.
Yeah, I think it was supposed to be something fun, and honestly, it was probably hyped up for me because everyone they answered so many questions, and honestly, Susie got saved before anyone even got there, except for
that's true.
The baby eating one.
Yeah,
I was like, okay, well, that was all tidied up very nice, very quickly.
Yeah, I mean, it was fun enough.
Fun.
I like seeing the primary Spellman family hang out, so I enjoyed it for that.
Wait, did Harvey and Sabrina talk in the holiday special?
I think briefly. Look, Shelby was super understanding of Harvey, even though she had no interest in their relationship whatsoever. But she was just like, look, she's like, yeah, this is annoying, all of it. But she was like, she did use magic on a situation that kind of made things worse, to the point where Harvey had to kill his brother to get rid of his brother after his brother was brought back. And she's like, and then he said, I don't want to be around you right now, and I don't want you using magic to help me with shit. And then she keeps using magic to try to help him with shit. So Shelby gave me another perspective, which I did understand. But then a part of me was just like, yeah, but she stopped his dad from being a raging alcoholic, which is better for him. Yeah. He doesn't do anything for Sabrina. It's not like it's getting her the relationship back.
But he did have to kill his brother.
It's pretty bad.
It's pretty bad. How does one equate killing own brother to dad's alcoholism? I mean, I understood why. I did understand why that relationship couldn't really go much farther and everything. And honestly, that was fine in itself. I just didn't dig him. Like, I was just like,
I didn't care.
I don't really care that you saw. I was like, all right,
whatever,
cool,
man.
Whatever, man.
You just it's time to move on.
You all I know is
take the enchanted coloring pencils and get over it.
I can't because they're it's magic. And I was like, all right, they just never need to be sharpened.
Yeah,
like
I
have a cat that is a goblin.
Oh my god, I enjoyed. I was glad Salem was there.
Yeah,
obviously not with all the great quips. Of the Melissa Joan
bullshit. I was mad about that
and does some things.
I was kind of mad about that.
But whatever. There's a black cat. It runs around. I'm happy.
It's nice, but I want him to talk and be like. Whatever.
Maybe in season 2.
Maybe.
And speaking of,
when's it coming out?
All right, I have all my information right here. Which, by the way, okay, here we are talking up real high about 10 episodes. That's the best way to do these things. And Christmas special, no big deal. You know what I found out? That the second part of the first season is coming in April of this year, 2019. So there's more.
Oh, shit.
I had no idea till I'm digging up. I'm like, oh, yeah, I heard that they got greenlit for seasons 2 and 3. I had heard they got greenlit. So I was like, oh, I'm going to look up and see when that season 2 is coming. And then I read that. Second part of first season drops in April.
Oh, shit. That's awesome.
Had no clue. So I'm super excited. We're going to get right back into the story sooner than I thought. So I'm totally into it. And then season 2 is 16 episodes split into 2 parts. Don't know when it's supposed to arrive officially. But So, they're going pretty strong. So that would be like a split of 8 and 8, I guess, for season 2. And I read somewhere that it's been greenlit for a 3rd season already.
Awesome.
So they must have really had some good viewership, and interest and critic warmth. So I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to what comes next. I don't find it scary necessarily, but it's definitely got some good dark
The
atmosphere.
Satan did not scare you.
It did not.
I think everything's amazing. I do not find it. I don't find it frightening. I do.
Do you find it chilling?
I find it chilly. Yeah, ASMR chilly. I do feel like I get the fear.
Yes.
And the love that people have for their religion. And they're like, oh, I want to please the master.
Right.
And when he shows up to Lilith, and he's like, give me one more chance. And I think she's fucking scared. Like, I'm scared for her. I'm like, she's going to die. Oh, she's not going to die. Okay. I love it. I think it also doesn't, the makeup and the costuming doesn't look ridiculous.
Agreed. Yeah.
So it makes me believe even more everything.
No, definitely. So I think we're giving it a thumbs up.
Yeah, it kind of sounds like it, right?
Yeah, I
it's
think
not that scary, but it's dark.
It's dark.
Even the actors were saying how they knew it was going to get dark, but once they saw it, they're like, oh, it went dark.
Yeah.
I like it a lot.
Yeah,
I like what it deals with. I like the actors.
Yeah, everybody's kind of committed.
Yeah.
And it shows. And so I look forward to what's coming next. I think, final thoughts here. I want to see her more at the witch school. Mm-hmm. I want to know if Nick Scratch is just an offhanded joke or if there's a bigger meaning there. And I want to know the baby stuff. Like, I want to know who that other child was, what's going on there, etc., and so on. And then just, more general good acting from everybody. Just bring it.
Bring everything. They're not doing anything wrong with the characters.
Right.
I would like to see more of them. Yeah. And I really do enjoy the side stuff, like when Prudence gets chosen.
Yeah.
We know why now.
Yeah,
because she's the illicit child, the illegitimate child of Professor Fawcett, whatever.
Right.
Headmaster. And the wife chose her specifically. And
Dude.
This world is great.
It's fantastic.
I want more of it.
Same.
Now we need more of the school. It's probably going to become more like a Hogwarts thing where we're going to find more.
Like dark evil Hogwarts.
Yeah. I'm in it. Let's do it. I mean, she had choir practice. She did great. Let's do more of that. She's done great.
But yeah, so we're down for it. And definitely get on Netflix. Check it out if you haven't watched it yet.
That is the one thing I was confused about in the holiday special. She was still going to school at the regular school. And I thought she was kind of going to transition all the way to the Satan school, to the horror school, whatever. So I would like to see, what we're doing now with that. So
okay.
I hope it's like a clearer picture.
Yeah.
But more dark choir. That'd be great.
More dark choir.
All right. Well, thank you very much, guys.
Yes, thank you for listening. And as always, you can follow us in a myriad of places. You can follow us on Facebook at I Know What You Podcasted last summer. You can like us there and follow us there and get all the information about great movies and things that we're getting into. You can follow us at Twitter at What You Casted. And you can follow us on Instagram, and I believe it's by our acronym, right? So
yeah, it's by the acronym. It's just way too long for it. Wouldn't let me do it. It's IKWYPLS, as in, please give us 5 stars.
5 stars.
Well, yeah, I like what we're digging. I like what we're doing, and we'll just keep posting as much as you guys keep liking. So,
exactly.
You know how the deal is, man.
You get on there, let us know what you think. Let us know if there's anything you want us to watch next. Veronica and I are killing it on the TV show viewing, so we don't know where we're going next, besides some more Sabrina. We'll get into that. But until next time.
All right.
Creep it real.
Creep it real.
Woo, woo.
Hey listeners, do you want everyone to know what you did last summer? Want to bring a little Halloween to even the sunniest of days? Check out our merch store at shop.spreadshirt.com/NOTLG for shirts, hoodies, mugs, and commemorative knives. Okay, that was a joke. We don't actually have hoodies. Okay, that also was a joke. We do have hoodies.
This has been a Night of the Living Geeks production. For more information and content, visit NOTLG.com.